Let the road to Super Bowl 57 officially begin. Card Coulage for the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. The Eagles and the Chiefs, the two top teams in the NFL, square off on Sunday, February 12th in Arizona. Thank you all for supporting the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. We got our regular NFL panel in the building. Paul the Great, is that what you're going by? Paul the Great, Paul GTG, Paul Pickums. I don't know, man.
Parlay P, almost hit the Parlay P every week. Hey, man, happy to be here to kick off an amazing weekend, pre-weekend. Great time.
Travis McKay, the professor. I don't know if that's the right name to call you since I'm the professor, but they donned you the professor of football. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Carl, you act like you ain't never been to a school that got more than one professor.
In the Hitler streets, there's only one. In the Hitler streets, listen, in the Hitler streets, we know there's only one.
So threatened by me,
there's only one. There's only one. In the Hitler streets, we know there's only one. That's it. That's all I got to say. Tim, who's also who's a contributor in our baseball and soccer, a Chiefs fan, thank you for joining us on this pre-show. How are you, man?
No problem.
And making his hit list debut, I would say, in football, one of my former students, Mr. Donovan Henning, who's a White Boys with Swag, was a group he was part of. That was at Suffolk County Community College. So, Donnie, thank you for joining us, man.
No problem, Carl. Thank you for having me. Fly, Eagles, fly.
So let me give you guys some quick background and context. If you don't know, the Chiefs are 5-4 all time against the Eagles. The last time they played each other was on October 3rd, 2021, and the Chiefs won 42-30. I've been trying to figure out, what do I call this Super Bowl? Is it about Andy Reid, playing against his former team? Is it about the quarterback matchup? Is it about brother versus brother? So I'm going to start with you, Paul, here. When you saw this matchup last week, what was the first thing that came to mind?
Fireworks. We got two quarterbacks. First of all, shout out to the Black community, all right? I love our diversity. I love our diversity on the panel. But to see two African-American quarterbacks representing the Super Bowl is historic, awesome. Right? That's awesome. Historic.
In Black History Month, too. We got to say that.
In Black History Month. It's even more historic because of how they treated my boy Jalen Hurts coming out of the draft. And here is a revenge tour for Paul, the Jalen Hurts supporter, as y'all well know. They talk bad about him at Alabama. They being Ray now, the Cowboys fan from the Sports Hit List. They talk bad of everybody wins at Bama. I have carried the same notion from day one. Jalen Hurts is a winner. He left there, went to Oklahoma. They said he couldn't throw. He learned how to throw, right? There's no one talking about his throwing ability this year. He should be the MVP, for Christ's sake. And he's not even going to get the award. He's not even going to get it. Hurts when playing is 13-1 this season.
Yep.
13-1 this season? And he's not even an MVP? They said Mahomes and Josh. We know Josh Allen don't belong there. We figured that out.
And Mahomes is winning MVP.
And they're going to give it to Mahomes. That's unfortunate.
Burrow doesn't belong there either.
Burrow doesn't belong. But, Carl, to answer your question, fireworks. We get the matchup America wants to see. The best versus the best. You can't ask for anything better.
Nailed it right there.
Paul, let me ask you this. Who wins the coaching matchup and why?
Oh, Andy Reid. I don't think anybody would disagree. It's no disrespect to Nasty Nick. He's a fantastic coach. You're getting his guys motivated.
That's a wild name.
Nasty Nick.
That could be taken so out of context.
That's so wild.
That's just out of context. Those are nasty Nick.
Nasty Nick. You know what I'm saying? Feel free, Carl.
Him and the Philly coaches, him and the names. Like,
feel free to clip that for advertising.
We got Zeus. Zeus. We got Nasty Nick. We got Zeus. Like
in all seriousness, there's a level of preparedness that Andy Reid brings to the table, and we've seen that just about for the last 3 full years, with the exception of not being able to block the front four of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2 years ago, right? But for the last 3 to 4 calendar years, Andy Reid is like literally a step ahead of everyone. It's sort of like, Denzel Washington and American Gangster, right? Like he's literally 3 moves ahead of what you're trying to do. And we even seen it last week, right? The interesting thing in this matchup is these are the 2 fastest starting teams in pro football. Not only are they the 2 best offenses, they get the ball first and they both score, right? And the difference in this game is going to come down to, I think Tim mentioned defensive coordinators. We don't need the Chiefs to be the best defense to win this game. They wasn't even the best defense on the field last week, but they played like it in moments. Bengals was marching up and down the field in the second quarter. I think Burrow had 200 passing yards in the second quarter, had 6 points. So if you can bend, not break, you have a shot in this game because you know at the end of the day, they ain't going to be able to hold 15 down for 4 quarters. Everybody here knows that. The biggest X factor for me, though, are the injuries for his skilled players.
Yeah.
That's the biggest X factor. You lose a Juju Smith-Schuster in that game. You lost a Kadarius
No,
Toney
Juju's
in
playing.
that game.
Juju's playing. Kadarius. Is
We
playing.
don't know.
Hardman's
to
not.
what
Hardman.
extent.
No,
we don't know to
Hardman's
what
not.
extent, right? We
Yeah,
think
yeah,
they're going to
yeah.
be
Well, the thing is,
healthy.
as far as
Right.
I've heard for the last time, they said Juju's swelling still hasn't gone down. So I
That's
don't
what
know.
I'm saying. As of yesterday, he's still 50-50. Hartman is already out. Biggest skill player they got. So now you got a guy
Man,
like
no,
Slay.
Hardman hasn't
Hardman's their-
done anything.
Hardman's
since
their
he's been
deep
in the
threat.
league.
Hardman's their deep threat, though.
Deep-
Hardman's their
Let-
guy.
let-
I would
Listen,
say, I would say
But-
MVS
Let me tell you why
that's
you
his
need.
ball
Hold
for
on,
it.
But
that's
what?
my
But when
segment,
has he
baby.
caught?
Hold
When
up,
has he
hold up,
caught a
Tim.
deep ball?
Hold up,
Kadarius Tony's better at a deep ball than
Tim,
McCall
Tim.
Hardman.
Tim.
Kadarius Toney's getting wildcat plays. He's getting trick
No,
plays.
no,
on the
he's
line of
Hey,
scrimmage.
yeah, he's
hey,
getting
hey,
chips,
Carl,
but he's
it's
also
my time.
quicker and
All
can
right.
run.
Yeah,
deep.
it is. Hold on, let him finish his
No,
point. Go
that's
ahead,
fine,
Paul.
that's fine.
It's about time now.
I've been
Hang on,
watching
hang
McCall.
on.
I've been
Go
watching
ahead.
McCall Hardman for
Go
years.
ahead, let
do
Paul finish his point.
absolutely nothing.
Hang on. It's not even about the deep threats or the deep passes he's caught, right? Not trying to have a plausible moment here, right? With the deep balls. So,
Come on, man.
the ability to take the top off the defense is a threat. You have a quarterback that has a limitless arm potential. The fear of not being able to throw the ball deep allows the defensive backs, and there's savages in Philly, to be able to play closer, not being concerned about being beat over the top. You can put more people in the box, which affects Zeus. If there's a guy that's affected by Chauncey Gardner-Johnson being an added personnel in the box, is number 87, Travis Kelce, right? And they took him away at points Sunday, and the guy who stepped up was MVS, mainly because they don't have a cornerback in Cincy. So MVS looked like Jamar Chase against Eli Apple. Against Darius Slay, I don't think that happens. I don't know,
Man.
but that doesn't happen, right? So that's my concern about not having a speedster down the field or Trickster and Tony that can
Man,
do
we have-
different things. That's my concern.
But this is one thing we didn't mention. My fault, Carl. I just thought about it. We sat here and talked about the Chiefs defense. Shout out to Steve Spagnuolo, man. He is not necessarily. He doesn't get the credit he deserves because throughout the
He
season,
does not.
the defense sometimes has his lapses. But Steve Spagnuolo is what I like to call a big game defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
If you look at the course of his career, his biggest moments were in the biggest games of the season. You know what I
Yo,
mean?
Trav.
So
Trav,
you got to be careful about that. He might come out with something that might have.
Trav.
He was on that Eagles staff at one point too.
Look at
He might have a little revenge factor trying to come in there. You know
Yo,
what I mean?
look at
You
Joe
gotta be-
Shiesty and Trevor Lawrence. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
You gotta
and those
be-
are
you
both
gotta-
very good
You got to be
quarterbacks.
ready. You got to be ready for him.
Hold your horses. All right. There's 2 distinct differences between both of those offenses. First,
Yeah.
the Eagles are an A1 offensive line. The Chiefs made us. They showed us why the Bengals was missing 3 offensive linemen.
And who
We've seen
told
that.
you? Who told you that, Paul?
It's okay, Tim. You said that, right?
All
So we passed that.
No,
The
but you
second thing
ain't
is-
acknowledge. You ain't acknevage it though.
It's not no
so.
knowledge.
Yeah,
the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, right?
Nah, it's a question.
You did
It's a
try
question.
to downplay it last week.
Yeah, he did. He tried
hang on.
downplaying and talking about 2 sacks only
so
twice all
let's-
year. Yeah.
Well, he was only sacked twice against only in 8 weeks. That happened, right?
Yeah,
Second thing
talking
is,
about 5 sacks when he won a
you
playoff
mentioned
game.
you mentioned Joe Burrow. That did happen. He beat the Titans after getting sacked 7 times. I told
Yeah.
you what happened. Tim, I'm a
Yeah.
factual
And I
speaker,
told you
right?
what was
We gotta-
gonna happen.
We got to get to
I
predictions.
was
so let Paul
correct.
finish. So let Paul finish his
So-
point.
The other thing you mentioned, the whole Trevor Lawrence thing, that's cute, right? Nobody cares about that. You come around the edge, Jalen Hurts is running up the gut and he's running for first downs. We've seen that all season. He had 900 rushing yards, right? So
That's
the
where Chris Jones
tricky
come
thing, is Chris Jones did his most damage on Sunday playing edge, not any inside.
Chris Jones isn't good against the run either. He's not.
It's not even a point.
That's not necessarily the run. It's about
containment, right?
Yeah, when you contain the corner,
Yeah.
it's the inside
Gap
job
compliance,
to
gap
Yep,
compliance
there we
and containment is
Talk
why
to
you
him.
need to be inside, right? So
talk to
the
him.
tricky thing for Spags is Every third down, we seen him slide Chris Jones against number 77 on Cincy, the backup right tackle, and he got home every single time. He had 4 sacks on.
Not gonna happen on Sunday.
Not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
he's
Not gonna
not
happen.
gonna do that.
Right?
Not gonna happen.
So now the challenge is gonna be, where do you play 95? Because inside he's not eating on Kelsey. We know that already. That's gonna be a matchup for the ages. But he ain't gonna.
And by the way,
But
By the way,
Kelsey's
if you
not gonna get him one-on-one. If you put Kelsey on Jones one-on-one, I give that matchup to Jones.
He's got.
I don't know about that. Kelsey,
You're not gonna. I'm not
All right,
giving
so
that to him.
let's try to reel it back in now. It's time we try to make some predictions. I'm going to go with Donnie first. What you got?
All right,
You
so
know
score
he riding
position.
Philly.
Score positions. I mean, yeah. I mean,
You know he
listen,
riding Philly.
I mean, obviously, what am I gonna say? Like, am I gonna say Kansas City after all
You know
this?
what you
Like,
should have said, Donnie? You should have made Carl go first. How about that?
Yeah, Carl, why don't you go first, man? I'm the professor now.
He got the Super Bowl trophy in the background.
Nah, I'm gonna, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. Like most of us have said, it's gonna be relying on the offenses. I'm gonna go with 33-27 Philly, and Super Bowl. I don't know if we're doing predictions for Super Bowl MVP.
You can if you want. It's up to you. You
Okay,
don't have
yeah.
to.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna be on next Sunday, but I'm gonna go out on a limb because I feel like most people are gonna say the quarterbacks, Mahomes, Hurts, maybe Hassan Reddick is out there. I'm gonna go with Miles Sanders. I don't think any of us have talked about the run game for Philadelphia, which is their biggest arsenal, the thing that they use the most. And against the 49ers, they run against the best rush defenses. They run very effectively, just like last week against the 49ers. Chiefs have a pretty good run defense. I mean, they pretty much halted Joe Mixon and Travis Etienne. But against the 49ers defense, the Eagles ran for 4 touchdowns. So I think Miles Sanders has a day, and I think he gets Super Bowl MVP.
Tim?
I'm gonna go. I think Sirianni tries to slow the game down a little bit, so I'm gonna go 27-24. I think they try to move the chains a lot with that run game. 27-24, Kansas City, and for my MVP, I'm gonna roll with Zeus.